We were going to have a projector and all that, but it's all good. So I got a PowerPoint, and then I just have just a summary of basically what natural farming. It's Korean natural farming is what we're doing, and we're making fermentation to help the soil and break down and help plants be able to grow better. So I'll read this little blurb. Natural farming recognizes the abundance of nature, utilizes the indigenous resources for production. Its basic philosophy is to maximize the inward potential of a life form and its harmony with the environment by not interfering with their growth and development, or by forcing the crops to yield more than what they can. Nature farmers believe the best way to achieve top quality and yield is to respect the nature of life. The NF methodology is based on nutrient cycle theory. Backyards of nature farmers on what inputs to apply and how often to apply. So it's basically, I'm going to go through, I have all the fermentations here, and the biggest thing to focus on is collecting indigenous life from just you can collect it from anywhere where life is thriving outside. So instead of using a bacterial or a fungal inoculant or something like that, or powder for your roots or for your soil to be able to break down better, you can just go and get it for yourself. So there's nothing stronger than bacteria and life from outside. And so I brought, this is IMO 3 right here. There's different steps to IMO collections, and so you can see this is it breaking down. There's rice bran, it's just rice bran, coconut flour, and some wood chips in here. So it's just so it can multiply, you know what I mean? So there's all different steps that you can do with it. And collections that you can take, and I just put them in here so that you can see it. They weren't finished, but you use rice to trick the microbes. You find places in nature, and you can make rice in boxes. Just make a box for yourself, and you can trick microbes for all the starches that are right here on the cooked rice. The microbes are going to multiply too. So if you find it's basically any microzyme, nitrogen-fixing bacteria. There's all types of different things that you can collect in different places that you can collect them from. So that's basically, look at this. And then from here, this will all be a complete patty. It started to do its thing. You can feel the heat coming off here. And if it's a good area that you're collecting from, then it won't be there won't be bad life in it. If you're collecting from an area that's dirty, like places where people frequent, for some reason where we frequent, because we drop trash or for whatever reason, I don't even know if it's just us being there or not, causes the bad bacteria to be there. I don't know if it's because like people urinate or where people are at, but you don't want to go where people are at. You want to go where nature's just pristine, and you don't even have to take nothing. This is just to show you, but you can just put your box of rice out there, and all the life that's out there will grow onto the rice, and so you'll have all different collections from all different areas. Good places to focus are grasslands and bamboo groves and places like that. You know, these are kind of cool. They haven't finished quite yet, but there is kind of mold growing on them. But these are just bamboo shoots, and you just fill them full of rice. And I only had a week to get prepared for this. So just come here to talk to you. And so inside right now, like you can feel the heat and moisture coming off them, but they're culturing microbes from the inside of the bamboo. And these are just going to be bacterial. Like they'll be high bacterial. I have a microscope and everything in the car. I didn't know the platform exactly. So, but you can look at some of the liquid inoculants under the scope and see all the life that's growing on it. So before you're ever even, some people will just go and, like say we're using a fermented plant extract, I can turn it into a liquid concentrate just with sugar and not using any chemicals or anything like that. And it's equivalent to your top dressing. what I mean, with the comfrey leaf or anything like that. You know? So to show you like how overtaken some of these stuff get. And with fungus. This is a collection, a 2-year-old IMO2 collection that I just put in here to take off. And so this is 2 days into it, and it just needs to be stirred because the heat gets a little too strong, you know. And you can see all the colors, there's reds, everything in it, and there's fungus, and it's all just webbing together. So if I stir it, which it needs to be stirred, then it'll recolonize, and it'll recolonize and come back like stronger until it's just chunks like this of just mycelium living. You know what I mean? So that's the way to, this is the 3rd step in colonizing them. From rice, you just take them and you can just put them, it's just kind of cool to see, you know? And it's just all like chunked together, you know? And as it goes, it's just going to get more and more, you know, that's 2.5 days right there. So it's a pretty cool process, and you can smell it. It doesn't smell foul. There's no bad smells. All these inputs are edible as well for a person. Not just traveling my trunk. So that's a crazy thing. And then these, you can check these out. And so all I did with the bran is I just took this is just the rice, and you just mix it with the raw sugar so that the microbes all just break down in there. And so this is a storage state, 2 years old right here, and it's still as good as like the day you made it, pretty much. And it has all the environments that I've ever collected in here, you know what I mean? So I've give it to people so that they can have it. You can just mix it with water and feed it, and it'll put the same things into your dirt. There's different methods to it. We just follow Cho's method of it, so that it's just basically raw sugar ferments. They're all aerobic. There's no anaerobic bacteria really being bred. So when you're just it's like the equivalent of when you're dropping tea into your soil, you're just dropping good food and good bacteria, and you're just feeding like to your microherb that's already established. You're just feeding more. You're like dropping more bacteria, and they're not established, so they're gonna just get bowed down pretty much. It's just like a feast every time you feed them. You're just feeding a feast of microlife, and also it's just plant food basically. There's different inputs that you can check out, and if you want to see them, they're all sealed so that if you want to open them, you can smell them. But that's a this is cannabis leaf, just turned to syrup. And these are like about what you want, you know, like as far as consistency. And so everything that's in the cannabis leaf for FPE, it's really what you focus on is feeding the crop back to the crop, so that you're not wasting anything. And you can just top dress all the leaf and throw it down, but cannabis leaf doesn't have a really high like cellulose, or it's really hot, like it's not high cellulose, so it doesn't get digested like as fast as like a comfrey would, or just any soft leaf, nettle, all that. And also you can use like horsetail is another good one for pure silica and salicylic acid. Just all different ones right here. There's willow extract, willow stem extract. I use this for reviving plants, kind of give it to them so that they just come back. Like people say aspirin if they're sick, you know, but this will help the immune system rebuild. Cheeto sand, it's just liquid chitin, so it's broken down with vinegar. And with ferments, there's only 2 types of ferments. And I'll go into it in a minute, but there's sugar pulp ferments and there's vinegar, and that's really it. And as far as sugar, you just gauge up to half of whatever you're fermenting with. You just gauge the material for its moisture content, so you can just add sugar. It's really simple. It's just people not taking the time to just get into it. For the fruit juice, we've just been taking and making a mash. So, like since it's all broken down, you can just throw. This is the only one you can filter them all. Most of them are all strained, so they're all water soluble. They can go through feed lines, anything like that. Bubble hash water, all the different things. You know? So we'll go through some of the ferments, and since we're doing ferments right now, I won't make a mess.
Honey, it's behind you.
Oh, vinegar?
It's over there.
And these are cool too. These are Oriental herbal nutrient. So this is licorice root right here, and it's just been fermenting. I think it's on the 4th or 5th bowl right here. So we use this as like antiviral. If your plant, there's a lot of pathogens out there. Like Fusarium is a big pathogen right now, attacking a lot of clones and stuff like that. And I just don't think it can thrive. Like this will kill PM if you have PM on a plant. And while it's doing it, it's going to just make all the essential oils build in your plant to the point where no bugs or anything can even eat off it. And if they do eat off it, this is like a natural systemic. It's like just all around. So we'll just go dig into all that. But this one's just always fun. So then simple like vinegar ferment. So that you can see it. These are all sugar. So this is just raw cane sugar. There's a little vinegar in there after this long being pulled over and over. And so there's not really a whole lot of material left. It just gets less and less, and you can do up to 5 pulls on those. And so it's just a cost-efficient way to not be using, you don't have to use any chemicals or anything to stabilize any of these. And the main point is just to focus on that. I like to use ferments heavy because I like the smoke, I like how it comes out, everything. But they're basically just growth stage feeds. So it's just for points of when you see your plant, like going into flower. Like when you're going to put it into flower, you want to give it the food that it needs. Just like how they compare it is if a woman were to get pregnant, she would have morning sickness if she didn't have proper calcium levels and proper phosphorus levels in her system. So that would be something like any reproduction that's about to happen, you need to have those like base nutrients strong because the plant's going to be pulling for it. So your soil can be, how he puts it, Master Cho puts it, is your soil can be balanced for growth, but it may not be balanced for bloom, or it may not be balanced for every stage of feed. And that's something that when you're visually looking at a plant, you can tell when it is sick or is like behind or slow, and it needs like a little boost. You know what I mean? So these are just growth stage feeds for veg, for like phosphoric acid. This is just like basically it helps transport some of the proteins and some of the nutrient. It's good for bloom and for changeover. So this is like a sour, this is from soybean stems, or from sesame stems, excuse me. And you can use either interchangeably. They're just all phosphorus, phosphoric acid. So it's different from phosphorus, but it's a sour food source. So when you give that to the plant, then it perks up automatically. Just loses that like grogginess when it's flipping, you know what I mean? That's the main use for that and for phosphoric or water-soluble phosphorus. So this is made from animal bones, and you char the animal bones and put them in the vinegar so that they react. And you're just, with vinegar, you're using it, it's just a weak acid, and by the time it's done, it's all converted. So it's no longer vinegar or acetic acid right here, it's a different sort, it's a different compound. So I just brought this one. I don't want to make a mess in here. But people can see it. I won't go crazy with it. But this is oyster shell. I like to use oyster shell over eggshell. So you can see the reaction when vinegar hits the shell. So it's breaking down the calcium carbonate that's in the shell. And it's immediately going to make it available. Once all the reaction's finished, it'll be immediately available for the plant to uptake. So you can just feed it to the plant whenever it's showing signs of needing calcium. And you can have all these for that reason. And on the back of that, what I gave you, it has a feed chart. It's essentially a feed chart. It's recommendations from Cho, just watching plants and crops, not even cannabis. I try to focus more on cannabis, but it's just for all crops. So that he just watched what they called for, like growing out in the field, and just seeing what a plant might need, and that's what the nutritive cycle theory is just the observation of nature, pretty much. So that just goes and goes like that, and if I filled it up more, it would just overflow and overreact. And so we'll go over a little bit of the steps and all that, and then that'll be that. So as far as this would be our projector, but as far as the most important thing with Korean natural farming, nature farming, whatever you want to call it, is our global natural farming is another thing they're calling it, is what Cho's book is focusing on indigenous microorganism collections. It's just going in the forest, going and getting forest bottom, finding visual leaf mold, finding mycelium, or places in nature that are just absolutely thriving. Microorganisms decompose complex organic compounds such as decaying plants, animals, and waste into nutrients, making them easily bioavailable for plants. They create compounds such as antibiotic substances, enzymes, and lactic acids that can suppress various diseases and promote healthier soil conditions. So just by adding IMOs naturally, instead of using like grape wine or whatever new microbial inoculant that you've seen, instead of doing any of that, you can just go get it yourself. IMOs are used primarily to create fertile and healthy soil conditions that are ideal for farming and also to prevent plant disease. They are considered the tough guys of the microbial world as they often have adapted to harsh conditions. So all the bacteria that you're going to collect has just lived out there and it thrives. And if you're going to bring it indoor especially, it's going to make anything else look weak. Like there's nothing that's going to be able to stand up to what you can collect yourself. Everything else is petri dish grown or grown in the lab and reproduced that way. So what you want to do is collect from as many diverse environments that you can. You want to look for visual leaf molds, grasslands, deep forest bottom, mountainous regions, bamboo grows or high bacteria. It's not the easiest thing to find while just growing, but if you just walk around, you'll realize that bamboo does grow in quite a few places. And you want to collect from moist and dry regions. You want to collect from hot and cold regions. All that adds attributes to the microlife that you're bringing into your soil mix. And you want to steer clear of areas that are contaminated by high human or high agricultural areas. Any agricultural area that I've collected from comes out black and green, and it smells like it stinks actually. So there's no good smell about it. Like I had that mold right in front of your face, and it smells like maybe an apple pie, bacon, or kind of like a little fermented smell, but nothing crazy. If you're in a cold, wet, or overly hot area, feel free to bring your collection inside so that you can let it cultivate under ideal conditions. So you have the best collection, cultivation, basically. And outdoors, you just want a big box, like good sized box. You don't want to make your rice very deep. And they say not to whole cook the rice, but I cook it just like I would cook any rice. And that's the best collection that I've seen. Under this too, I put lactic acid bacteria. It's cultured in the same manner. You just use rice water and raw milk collections to proliferate it. And natural yogurt is a carrier as well for lactobacillus. It's literally harnessed from the air. All the lactic acid, bacteria, all floats around. So you're just collecting it from the air itself and cultivating it. And it's pretty much the only thing that's strong enough to thrive in the rice water. Because rice water doesn't have much nutrient or anything in it. So it's pretty cool. What's cool about lab is it's good for a number of things. It aids you to break down food stores, and especially breaks down P and K in your soil, so phosphorus and potassium. It's going to be able to actually convert it, even if it's synthetic. Lactic acid can convert those chemicals basically into usable compounds for your plant. So that's another good thing. IMO1 is you're culturing soil life, culturing onto organic rice. IMO2 is the cultured rice once it's finished, mixed with sugar. IMO3 is the sugar mixture mixed with organic bran, organic flour, and wood chips is the best mixture. It's a 3-part mixture. You can use either one, just one of any of the one. Most bokashi is just made with bran. Pretty simple. IMO4 is the 3 mixed with your local native soil, or if you're grown indoor with your indoor soil. And so that just causes a mass inoculation that you can't get any other way. You won't be able to find it any other way. And then you can take it a step farther and mix it with animal manure, and that's mainly just for broadcasting over big plots of land, if you're going to go that route. Some people have done, I've seen rabbit